Welcome back for batch content episode number 2. Now, I want you to imagine 2 NPs. Both are brilliant clinicians, both open their own practices. Now, NP number 1 focuses on being the best injector. She works tirelessly, seeing 20 patients a day, and builds a successful 6-figure practice. But the business is her, okay? If she stops working, the income stops coming in. Now, NP number 2 also focuses on being a great injector, but from day to day, he also focuses on building systems, protecting his brand, and telling his story. 10 years later, a major corporation acquires his practice for a life-changing amount of money. What was the difference? It was mindset. And today, we're deconstructing the story of a founder who perfectly embodies the second mindset, Monique Rodriguez, the registered nurse who created Mielle Organics and engineered a 9-figure exit. And we have it right here. This is going to be a masterclass in turning your clinical expertise into a valuable, sellable asset. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, a professional membership for nurse practitioners who specialize in cosmetics and entrepreneurship, who want to have a business on the side or start their own empire. We provide weekly, ongoing mentorship and coaching. We pick up where your on-demand weekend course or academic program leaves off, because everybody's first question is never their last question. Entrepreneurship is lonely, and we have a philosophy that we think we can always find ways where we can keep each other in business. So one of those ways is staying persistent and consistent and taking advantage of things like free social media. And so today I'm doing batch content. That's where I film a whole bunch of episodes back to back, and then I schedule them out, and that frees up my time, frees up my mind so that I can spend more time working on my business instead of in it, which is exactly on theme with what we're talking about today. And so when you're here and you join me at our new time, Fridays at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, you can ask your questions in real time. So many of you are in my inbox waiting for meetings or responses. This is office hours. This is the perfect time to meet up and be able to control the direction of this conversation. Because you can come online in all the chat groups and all the spaces, and you're going to get general information. And for a long time, that is helpful. But there comes a point in your business where you need advice that is very specific and unique to you. We see that in medicine, right? We have personalized medicine. That there's a reason for that. Even though we have tens of thousands of people who have used this medication, decades and decades of research proving that it's effective. Every single day, someone comes and says, "But is it going to work for me?" Every single day. Okay. So before we jump into our content, because this is episode 2, we have a total of 8 that we're going through. If you missed last week, we talked about Beyonce's Sacred line. In particular, we talked about how you can build on your own celebrity within your region and expanding your radius so you can increase the pool from which you pull other influencers who you can benefit from, using their credibility and visibility, whether it's on par with yours or bigger or just different, because sometimes big brands don't have the same relatability and bandwidth to maintain those relationships that smaller brands do. So you actually might be pretty big and pretty successful, but you decide to partner with a brand who's a little bit smaller because maybe they're open to it, right? And maybe they won't charge you for it. Maybe they have a different, unique perspective. Perhaps they reach a different target audience or even demographic that you have been struggling with. And so your ability to partner with people really widens when you expand your radius online or in person. And so that's what we really covered last week. Before we get into our topic today, as usual, we're going to do a prayer. We either do a prayer, scripture, devotional, something along that lines, just to get us in the right mind, in the right headspace, and to make sure we invite God into this conversation. God, we thank you for being my strength. Set our heart firmly on you and the journey you've called us to. When we get tired, lift us up. When we feel lost, guide us. Help us to trust that you are leading us home. Amen. Okay. So yeah, I really just noticed that we had this in the bathroom. I have never used her products personally, but my love bug. I've never used her products personally. And that's our microphone check. But he's a product junkie. Okay, I said it. I'm very loyal. I find something that works, I stick with it. But he tries everything on the market. And so, yeah, fortunately, we have this here for you. And if I would have been more prepared, I would have asked him for his feedback. I don't know if he likes it or not. Let me see. You can't really see that. There you go. And this is the pomegranate and honey curl defining mousse with hold. This is texture mousse for type 4 hair, and it's promoting its pomegranate and honey collection, which contains a blend of pomegranate, honey, and other ingredients. Um, we're in the middle of at the beginning of our year-long alopecia residency at the Alliance, the first of its kind in nursing. And one of the things we're going to be doing this year is delving deep into ingredients. That's something that really lacks when it comes to medical and nursing curriculum. But our esthetician friends, they really mastered ingredients. And I want you to be able to have that same mastery and confidence. And so one day you're going to look at this label and know exactly what everything means. So let's get into this one. So when Monique Rodriguez started Mielle, she wasn't just another entrepreneur in the crowded hair care space. She was a nurse. Think about the power of that. In a world of marketing claims and influencer hype, her nursing background was an immediate signal of trust, science, and credibility. She wasn't just mixing ingredients in her kitchen, she was a healthcare professional like you who understood physiology, who spoke the language of health. Her story wasn't, I like making hair products. Her story was, I'm a nurse who understands what your body needs, and I've created a solution because people are already looking for solutions, they're already looking for answers. And when you position yourself as an authority and you keep showing up every day, not only to create content, but to educate yourself, you position yourself to be the solution that they're already looking for. Yes, there are times, like we talked about integrative medicine, where you're introducing something for the first time and you're now telling people the benefits of that. But other times, you're just already identifying a solution for problems people already have. And I see you here. Please don't be shy. This is your chance to ask your questions directly and shape the direction of this content. If you missed the intro, we're talking about Mielle. This is our batch content day. We're doing 8 episodes. This is episode number 2, and we're talking about Mielle, which is a nurse-owned brand. Okay, perhaps you've seen this in the hair care aisle. So this is your story, right? So many of us are taught to be humble about our credentials. You put NP after your name, and you hope people understand what it means. Someone just told me that yesterday. She's applying for a big makeup brand kind of influencer program. And she was saying all these things like, well, I hope they understand and I hope they can see that. I said, we don't hope. We guarantee, right? You make it clear, point out the obvious, okay? So you put NP after your name and you hope people understand what it means. I'm telling you right now, if people aren't in nursing, they don't understand. Make that assumption. Just make that assumption that they don't understand and that even sometimes in nursing, people don't understand. And I've gone into ad nauseum about that. That's why we have the white paper out that you can get now through the Mielle Dermatology Nursing Bookstore. Yes, it was a month of rest and sabbatical, but it was also an opportunity to strengthen the foundation. And one of the things was moving all of our resources into one place to make it super convenient for you to access, and where we'll be promoting our members too, to make it much easier for all of us to get the visibility that we all need to keep our businesses in business. So you put NP after your name and you hope people understand what it means. They don't. So you're going to send them to the Mielle Dermatology Nursing Bookstore, ask them to download their complimentary guide of the white paper that explains nursing education specifically through the lens of dermatology and cosmetics as it is right now. We compare MD, MP, PA, and we take your path if you're interested in nursing starting in high school. We provide a clear path all the way through doctoral work. We talk about that, and we even look at the broader market on how MPs can be thought leaders and contributors, not only as a business owner, but to other businesses, right? We want to position the nurse practitioner as a valuable asset and thought leader, okay? So you're going to send them over there. And we don't want you to make the mistake that so many people have, is thinking that people know, understand, and respect and care about all the work that you did as a nurse. So your DMP, your MSN, your RN, that is not your story. This is your competitive advantage. You need to tell that story relentlessly. That means showing up every single day. On your website, in your consultations, on your social media, you're not just an injector. You're a highly educated medical provider who has chosen to specialize in the art and science of aesthetics. Now, that is a powerful story that builds instant trust, and it differentiates you from everyone else in the market, because especially in this market, in the beauty industry, and really in entrepreneurship, you don't need credentials. You just need to keep showing up. But when you keep showing up, you create your credentials. Now in healthcare, we have a really hard time because we have to check so many boxes to gain that authority and reputation and credentials. We have to wait for someone to give us those credentials. But in entrepreneurship, you don't need it. And it's really hard when we're stepping into this space to make that mind shift. That's probably the hardest mind shift for you to make, is understanding you don't need permission. You give me a question, I'm going to tell you the same answer. You don't need permission. Okay. So you're here. I see you. If you're ready to start leveraging your true value in the market, hit that subscribe button, because every time I go live, you'll be notified and you won't miss any of the content, which is shaped by your questions and your consultations with me. I don't pull this stuff out of the sky. It's coming from right now. It's happening in the field, both in clinical practice and amongst those of us who are in entrepreneurship. So let's continue to talk about Mielle. Now, she was acquired by P&G. P&G owns half of the things in your bathroom and in your kitchen, okay? Acquisition, that means when another company finds your company so valuable that they come and offer you to buy it out. Now, what will happen on the customer side is you'll hear people say, oh, they sold out, they're a sellout. But there comes a time in your business, and Robert Kiyosaki talked about this in one of my number one recommended books for you, which is the cash flow quadrant. Everything we ever talk about on here is based on two frameworks. The first one is the cash flow quadrant, understanding the difference between being self-employed and an employee on this side of the quadrant, to being business owners and investors. Everything I'm teaching you is about getting on this side of the quadrant. That's how you get generational wealth. That's how you can do the things that you want to do when you want to do them with the people you want to do them for. Now, and in that book, he talks about there can come a point in your business where it's worth more to you to sell it than it is to keep operating it. And Mielle came into this opportunity. Now, everyone's not going to come into that opportunity, particularly if you're still on this side of the quadrant, because I don't want to buy something, take you out of it, and all of a sudden there goes the company, there goes my revenue. When people start to spend really large amounts of money, they want things to be guaranteed. They don't want to hear things like organic or word of mouth. They want to see proven strategy, repeat numbers, like as guaranteed as you can get when it comes to life, right? But the more money people make, the more guaranteed that they want to be about their investment. And in this case, they're investing in you. So you have to work your way from being in the center of the business. Even if you, in your mind right now, you're thinking, I don't need to sell my business, I just want some extra cash on the side, so my kids can go to a nice school, so we can have a second rental property, so we can care for our parents, whatever the case is, at least be in the position to have the option, right? That's why I want you to at least have the option. Have someone at least come and entertain you with the idea so you can at least consider it. Many MPs, this isn't just happening with Mielle. This is happening right now amongst MP entrepreneurs. They're coming on all the time talking about 2, 5, or 7 years after they've opened their business and have been able to accumulate a good amount of money, that they're selling it and they're transitioning off to Hawaii or another chapter in their life where life is a little less hectic. Sometimes they've had multiple businesses going, and so they're selling one or two of them and moving into a different direction. But a lot of it is because they were able to position themselves out of that business. And a big part of that is that in the first 2 years, if someone says, hey, I'm going to buy your business, you can't leave right away. You have to actually stick around for like the first 2 years. This is part of that guarantee, right? And helping make the transition. It's a big deal to hand over your business. And so you have to continue to be available for the first 2 years so that you're kind of guaranteeing the business, making sure everything runs smoothly, that the transition is smooth, both for the investor and as well as on the consumer side and your team or the team that's going to come in. So acquisition, another company comes in and wants to buy your business. And this was the result of a decade of disciplined work. You cannot sell a chaotic business that only exists in your head. You can only sell a business that runs on systems. One of the other books I always recommend to you guys is Systemology, and it teaches you how to automate things. And with AI being around now, it's super easy. You can you can learn it in a weekend. You can dedicate 30 days to it, or you can just pay someone and get it done real quick too, right? I once consulted with an NP entrepreneur who had a very profitable practice, and a larger company approached her about an acquisition, and she was super thrilled about it, but also nervous, right? She's never been in that position before. But when they started due diligence, the deal fell apart because she had no documented systems. Her patient onboarding was a bunch of sticky notes. Her financials were tangled with her personal accounts, big no-no, and her training protocols were non-existent. Her practice was profitable, but it wasn't a valuable asset for someone else. And this is a lesson for all of us. From day one, you must build your practice with the discipline of a business owner and an investor who is preparing to sell it, even if you never plan to. And this is important to note. When you're getting advice, if you're an employee and you want to get hired, you don't go ask other employees how to get hired. You go ask employers their advice for getting hired, because they're the ones doing the hiring. They're the ones writing the check. It's the same thing right here. When you're trying to set your business up to be valuable and attractive to an investor, you go get advice from investors and business owners. Now you're in a position now you can use AI to do that. The better you know how to use AI, the better your response will be. But sometimes it behooves you to pay someone to get that beyond the generalist, right? AI is a little bit of a generalist unless you're really good at your prompting. But even at the end of the day, sometimes you want to talk to someone who's been doing this for a few decades and get their take on it. Might be a one-time call, or you might have them on retainer. So just think about that when you're investing in your business. It's not just devices that you need to invest in or even another advanced training course. Sometimes it's in getting expert perspective so that you can position your business to be a valuable asset for an acquisition like Mielle. So from day one, you're going to build your practice with the same discipline, right? Create standard operating procedures for everything. We actually cover that in nursing aesthetics for you, SOPs. And the beautiful thing right now is you can do video SOPs. They have platforms that can do this for you, that can record you like doing a process, going from step 1 to step 10. And you can house it on those platforms, which I think some might be free, some might charge you, but you have things like Dropbox, Google Workspace, a flash drive. So you have lots of options, but your standard operating procedures can be a combination of printed text so people can walk through like a checklist or steps. It can be a QR code that links to a video. You can use your YouTube, that's what it was. You can use your YouTube channel and put it unlisted and then, link to it in your policies and procedures. You can do a QR code. You can create an app now. So many different ways you can do this, but basically anyone else should be able to come and follow those exact steps and get the close to similar output that you did when you did it, right? Protect your intellectual property. You can trademark your name, copyright all your content. Certainly you can check in with a lawyer who can make sure everything is legit and will have legal standing, and continue to learn about in that space, right? Because of the legal protection that you need when your business brings in $10,000 a month is completely different than what you need when your business is bringing in $1 million a month, okay? So maintain immaculate financials. A business that runs on systems is an asset that gives you the freedom of choice, the choice to scale, the choice to step back, or the choice to sell. At some point, the business you have now in your head or in real life will not be the same business. It will grow, you will grow, you will die. That's a real possibility. I mean, it's a real thing to think about. Either you will die, the market will change, something will end, and it needs to go into someone else's hands. Either the decision about what's going to happen with the business or you yourself, right? And not only emergencies happen every day. So you want to have those things in place, just like you do for your children and your other important assets that you have. So let's get real in the comments. What's one system you need to create in your practice, but you've been putting it off? Let's name it and commit to it. And then come back and tell us so we can hold you accountable. Those members in the Alliance, that's a big part of what we're able to provide there is that accountability. I shared many times this year that in my business sales coaching program that I participated in, linking up with 2 other accountability partners allowed me to do more in 30 days than I have done it by myself in months. And at the thought of it is very stressful because our calendars are so tight, there's no room. But I just made a commitment to get it done. And I'm so glad I did. And I continue to have one of those partners, and I even started another accountability group because I understand the power of having to check in with someone else, even if it's just a little thing, being able to share challenges that we're going through. And like I said, it's so lonely. And there's a lot of excitement around entrepreneurship, and some of that excitement, you don't have a lot of people to share it with because they don't understand. And then when you are struggling, when you are feeling a little bit doubtful, you need other people to help pick you up. Someone said, so when you're part of a community, we're there to pick you up when you're down. And when you're down, and when we're down, you're there to pick us up. Hey, I see you too. Leave a comment, thumbs up, something. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're not a bot. And happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. I think everybody's lunch is over. So let's talk about some takeaways. So first of all, I want to thank you for tuning in. And the biggest takeaway from all of this is lead with your story as a clinician, but build with the discipline of a business owner and investor. That can be the same thing you say every day on social media. We can get caught up when we create content that we think everything needs to be brand new every single time, but really it doesn't. It really doesn't have to be that much different. You can show up every single day and say the same thing in a different way. And you want to do it it's like mastering your assessment, like I talked about last week. And then I talk about all the time when I'm training other NPs and clinicians. When you have told your story so many times and so well that other people can tell your story as well as they tell their own, you've nailed it. And that's really where we want to be, okay? Remember, your nursing degree is your greatest marketing asset, but you have to master communicating what value you're bringing to the table. And your systems are your greatest financial asset. Combine the two, and you've got yourself an empire. If you're serious about building a valuable, sellable asset, and you want to be in a community that's dedicated to this high-level thinking and accountability and encouragement and a strategy vault, affirmations, live lectures, then I invite you to learn more about the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners. It's the home of the first alopecia residency for NPs and the only place where we combine clinical mastery with investor level strategy. Visit cosmeticnp.org to join our wait list and get a special invitation when the doors open again. Remember, you can put your questions in the comments or you can send them to us directly through either the Mahogany Dermatology blog or cosmeticnp.org. And if you're joining me for batch content, stick around for the next episode where we will talk about, Emma Greed, my newest, what should I call Emma? Man, she's the highest, she's a high caliber mentor. I've talked many times about the struggle of finding a certain quality of mentor. When you mentor a lot and you give a lot, it's hard to find someone who can kind of match, to be above that. And I've been very candid about the struggles with that. But Emma, she's at Emma, Jasmine Star. Yeah, they speak my language. And so we're gonna come back, talk all about the brains behind Skims and Good American and what it takes to really pitch the Kardashians, a $1 billion family. How do you get the confidence for that? What do you say? How do you prepare? And what can you learn from that in your own business? So I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.